Let me tell you something that nobody in your circle is saying out loud. The wealthiest Filipinos you know, the ones with multiple properties, growing businesses, and investment portfolios that keep compounding, most of them did not build that wealth purely from their own savings. They did not grind for 30 years, save every centavo, and slowly accumulate assets one by one from their own pocket. They used other people's money. And before you dismiss that as something only the ultra-rich or the well-connected can do, I want you to stay with me for the next 8 minutes. Because the mechanics of what I am about to show you are available to any professional, any business owner, any high-earning Filipino who understands how to use the system the way it was designed to be used. This is not a get-rich-quick idea. This is not a secret loophole. This is a financial strategy that has been hiding in plain sight, that banks literally designed to be used this way, and that the wealthiest segment of Philippine society has been quietly executing for decades while everyone else saves up and waits. By the end of this video, you will understand exactly how leverage works, how rich Filipinos use it to multiply their returns, what the real risks are, and how to know whether you are in a position to use this strategy yourself. Let us start with the most important concept in this entire conversation. Your savings rate is not your wealth building rate. Read that again. Because most Filipinos have been taught that the path to wealth is simple. Earn money, save money, invest, saved money, repeat. And that path works slowly, very slowly. If you earn 200,000 pesos a month and save 20% of that, you are setting aside 40,000 pesos a month. That is 480,000 pesos a year. To accumulate 10 million pesos at that savings rate, assuming your money sits in a savings account earning almost nothing, you are looking at over 20 years. 20 years of disciplined saving to build one asset. Now let me show you what a different approach looks like. Instead of saving for 20 years to buy a 10 million peso property in cash, you put down 2 million pesos as a down payment and borrow 8 million pesos from a bank. You now control a 10 million peso asset with 2 million pesos of your own money. That 2 million pesos you deployed represents your 20% equity, but you own 100% of the asset. And if that asset appreciates by 10% over the next year, the value goes up by 1 million pesos. That 1 million peso gain was earned on a 10 million peso asset, but you only put in 2 million pesos. That is a 50% return on your actual capital. This is leverage, and this is the foundational concept behind how wealthy Filipinos multiply their wealth far faster than people who only use their own money. Now let me show you exactly how this plays out in the real world across 3 different strategies that wealthy Filipinos actually use. Strategy number 1 is property leverage, and this is the most common entry point. A doctor earning 400,000 pesos a month does not save up 15 million pesos and then buy a BGC condo in cash. She puts down 3 million pesos, borrows 12 million from a bank at 7% interest, and takes ownership of a 15 million peso asset immediately. She then rents that unit out for 65,000 to 75,000 pesos per month. That rental income covers a significant portion of her monthly amortization. The tenant is essentially helping her pay down a loan on an asset she owns. Over time, the property appreciates, her loan balance decreases, her equity grows, and when the property has appreciated enough, she uses that equity as collateral to borrow again and acquire a second asset. She did not wait until she could afford 2 properties. She used the first property to get the second one. And this is how 1 property becomes 2, 2 becomes 4, and a portfolio gets built not over 40 years, but over 10 to 15. The key insight is that the bank is her partner in this. The bank provides 80% of the capital. She provides 20% and the management. She keeps 100% of the upside. Strategy number 2 is the business asset leverage play, and this is where it gets even more interesting. Wealthy Filipino business owners do not keep their assets sitting idle. They use those assets as collateral to access capital that they then deploy into higher returning opportunities. Here is a real-world example. A business owner owns a commercial property worth 20 million pesos free and clear. Instead of letting that property just sit there, generating modest rental income, he goes to a bank and takes out a loan against it at 60 to 70% of its value. That gives him 12 to 14 million pesos in fresh capital. He then deploys that capital into his business, into another property, or into a diversified portfolio of stocks and real estate investment trusts. The rental income from the original property covers the loan interest. The new investments generate their own returns. He now has two engines of wealth running simultaneously, both partly funded by the bank, both generating returns that compound over time. This is called asset recycling, and it is one of the most powerful wealth multiplication strategies available in the Philippines today. You do not need to sell an asset to unlock its value. You borrow against it and put the capital to work somewhere else. Strategy number 3 is what I call the spread strategy, and this is the one that your analytical mind will find most interesting. The spread strategy is simple in concept. You borrow money at a certain interest rate and invest it at a higher rate. The difference between what you pay the bank and what your investment earns is your profit. Pure arbitrage. Here is how sophisticated Filipino investors execute this. They take out a loan at 6 to 7% per annum. They invest in a diversified portfolio of dividend-paying blue-chip Philippine stocks that historically yield 7 to 10% annually when you combine dividends and capital appreciation. The net spread of 1 to 3% on a 10 million peso deployment is 100,000 to 300,000 pesos per year in pure arbitrage profit before the compounding effect of the underlying investments. Now, I know what you are thinking. Is this not incredibly risky? What if the investments go down? What if you cannot make the loan payments? And that is exactly the right question to ask, because this strategy only makes sense under specific conditions, and I would be doing you a disservice if I did not explain the risks as clearly as I explained the upside. Leverage magnifies everything. It magnifies your gains when things go well, but it magnifies your losses when things go wrong. A property that drops 20% in value when you own it outright means you lost 20% of your investment. The same property with 80% financing means you lost 100% of your equity and you still owe the bank money. This is why wealthy Filipinos who use leverage successfully follow very specific rules that protect them from the downside. Rule number 1 is they never leverage beyond what their income can cover. If the rental income stops, if the business hits a bad quarter, if the investment portfolio drops, they can still make their loan payments from their primary income without financial stress. Leverage only works as a wealth building tool when your base income is strong enough to be your safety net. Rule number 2 is they borrow for assets, not for lifestyle. Taking a loan to buy an investment property that generates income is intelligent leverage. Taking a loan to buy a car, fund a vacation, or cover daily expenses is debt that destroys wealth. The wealthy are ruthlessly disciplined about this distinction. Rule number 3 is they maintain liquidity. Before they use leverage, they make sure they have at least 6 to 12 months of loan payments sitting in liquid accessible form. This buffer is what keeps a temporary setback from becoming a permanent financial disaster. Rule number 4 is they match the loan term to the asset. Long-term assets like property get long-term loans. They do not borrow short-term at high rates to fund long-term investments. The mismatch between loan duration and asset duration is one of the most common mistakes people make when they try to use leverage for the first time. So how do you know if you are ready to use this strategy? The honest answer comes down to 3 things. First, is your primary income stable and strong enough to cover loan payments even if your investment produces nothing for 12 months? If the answer is yes, you have the foundation. Second, do you have an emergency fund of at least 6 months of expenses separate from your investment capital? If the answer is yes, you have the buffer. Third, do you fully understand the asset you are borrowing to acquire? Not the brochure version, not the sales pitch version. The real numbers, the real risks, and the real exit options. If the answer is yes, you have the knowledge. If you can say yes to all three, leverage is a tool that is available to you right now. Not someday, right now. The wealthy Filipinos who use other people's money to build wealth are not smarter than you. They are not luckier than you. They simply understood earlier that waiting until you have enough of your own money is the slowest possible path to financial independence. And they decided to use the system the way the system was designed to be used. You know, the bank wants to lend to you. The developer wants to sell to you with financing. The financial system is built around the concept of leverage. The question is not whether the tool exists. The question is whether you are disciplined enough and informed enough to use it wisely. Now you are. If this video shifted how you think about building wealth in the Philippines, subscribe. We publish this kind of honest financial analysis regularly, and we want to be the channel that helps you make every major money decision with complete information and genuine clarity. Check out the links below for our upcoming seminars and our other videos on property investing, stock market analysis, and the full breakdown of how to build a wealth portfolio in the Philippines from the ground up. Drop a comment below. Tell me whether you are currently using leverage in your financial life or whether this is the first time you are seriously considering it. I read every comment, and that conversation always becomes our best content. See you in the next